Hi everyone. So today we're going to be talking about Wuthering Heights, and I'm going to give you some background information that you need to know about the book and some helpful things that will help you with your comprehension of this novel. So, some interesting things about the book. The first thing is that Emily Bronte, who is our author, actually wrote the book under a pen name named Alice Bell. All of the Bronte sisters, and there are two other ones, Charlotte Bronte is the next most famous one, also used a pen name as well. One of the reasons why she wrote under a pen name is that it was seen as immoral for women to write. Women authors didn't get published back in the 1800s. So the only way for her to get this book out and for people to actually be able to read it was to write under a pen name. So she published Wuthering Heights in 1847. She died a year later when she was 30. So she's an author who she wrote one book, and then that's all we really have from her. This novel was seen as being very scandalous and a threat to British society. We would not consider it scandalous at all today. But during the mid 1800s, the fact that you have this married woman who's in love with another man would have been very shocking to British society, and especially the character of Heathcliff as well. Heathcliff is seen throughout the book as a constant threat to the other characters and just how he corrupts everyone and everything around him. So this book falls under two different literary movements. The first one is the Romantic Gothic. And some of these qualities of Romantic Gothic literature is that the individual spirit is supreme. So, like the character Kathy is someone who is ruled by her own spirit. She doesn't follow society's norms, and people are constantly trying to suppress that spirit. Another big key feature with Romantic Gothic literature is that the supernatural is real. So anytime you have a ghost, which in this book there are a couple instances of ghosts, you have to take that at face value. When a character says that they're seeing a ghost, that's actually there. The nature can be both real and supernatural. Nature is also very symbolic. In the next couple slides, we'll be looking at some pictures of the setting. And that is something where the setting of this book is very symbolic to the characters, the plot, all this sort of stuff as well. Again, with Romantic Gothic literature, extreme plots are usually front and center. So there's lots of focus on death, murder, again, ghosts. So this is very heightened, which also connects to the last characteristic. Heightened themes. So themes of everlasting love, revenge, retribution beyond the grave. Somebody's coming back and haunting other characters. So there is a very dark side to this novel. With all the ghosts, there are a couple character deaths as well. Characters who come back and haunt other characters. And then this whole idea of, does love end after you're dead, or does love continue on? So that's one literary movement. This novel also falls into realism. It's at this weird cross-section of Romantic Gothic literature and realism. And the biggest key to realism is that it focuses on true-to-life characters who are essential. So there's one character in particular whose name is Joseph. You would have met him already in chapter 1, who speaks with a dialect, with a very strong northern Yorkshire accent. So what Emily Bronte will do is she writes Joseph's dialogue phonetically, and it will look like nonsense. So that's her writing with Joseph's dialect. So my biggest tip for you when you see that is to just kind of read it quickly. Don't try to focus on decoding that dialogue. You want to more focus on getting the gist of it, because the characters as well don't really understand what Joseph is saying. Another characteristic of realism is the focus on the mundane, day-to-day events of a person's life. So, again, like chapter 1, you have Mr. Lockwood, who is renting Thrushcross Grange from Heathcliff. It seems very mundane. But then what's kind of cool is that you have this, some mundane, everyday stuff that then gets interrupted by all these ghosts, heightened themes, supernatural, that sort of stuff. So as I alluded to earlier, our setting is super symbolic, and there are two main houses in this book. The first one is Wuthering Heights, and that is owned by the Earnshaw family. Wuthering Heights is an extremely gothic setting, so again, kind of dark, gloomy. It's also extremely wild. Anytime there's ghosts, it's usually around Wuthering Heights, and it's surrounded by the moors, which are these geographical features. Bushcroft Grange, on the other hand, is owned by the Linton family. The Lintons are a family that thrives on order. They go with what society says. The house is not wild at all. It's very structured, neat, and it's closer to town as well. So here's some pictures of those moors. So this is in the northeast of England. So London, when we're going to look at a map here in just a second, but the moors are these big, vast areas of land. They're extremely rocky. Nothing really grows on them except grass. You might get a tree now and then. But the characters, like Kathy and Heathcliff, anytime that they're trying to, embrace their individuality, they will go out on the moors. So you're going to hear those moors being referenced a lot. And anytime you think that, be thinking of these wide open spaces. And again, so our map here, you have London way down in the southeast of England. This book takes place up in the northeast. So York is the biggest city. The moors are all around here. Okay. This next part of our slides are really essential, especially this one in particular. So this is a family tree. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and I want you to copy down this chart exactly as is, including some of the symbols as well. So if you see the hearts, go ahead and draw that, the 2 and the 1 as well. So copy this down into your notes, and then go ahead and pick up after you've copied that down with video 2.